Well guys, you finally did it. You talked me into it. I'm inviting you, yes you, past clients, future clients, possible clients, to my property for the first ever Whitetail Land Management Services Field Day. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I set up my world-class personal hunting property. Everything from timber stand improvement, food plotting, where my trail cameras are, and where my tree stands are. Beyond that, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I strategically hunt my property to consistently hunt mature bucks and kill my target bucks every year. I'm even inviting you guys to bring maps of your own personal property so that we can sit down one-on-one and pick those properties apart. So sign up quick guys, because we are only offering a limited, and I mean limited, amount of spots for this visit. Well guys, it kind of pains me to even make this video because I'm about to give away one of my favorite tips when it comes to killing a big, mature, late season deer. So it's no secret guys, everything revolves around food, especially when it gets super cold, gets super frigid, and these deer become slaves to their stomachs. They need food. Food is limited at this time, but you have to make sure that you have palatable food during this portion of the season, otherwise those deer just are not going to be frequenting your property. So I'm going to tell you right now, one of my favorite things to do to ensure that deer will be on my property. Let's say you only have one food plot. Let's not, and maybe you are the property owner that has numerous food plots, but you only have one food plot and you want to hit it all so that you have deer throughout the entire season and you have every food source so that these deer are attracted to your property during the late season, guys. It's going to start back in spring, okay? And one thing that I would definitely recommend doing is probably going in and planting some sort of grain. We've heard the talks about planting green and grain, and certain ones are attractive on certain winds and certain warm fronts and cold fronts. And here's the thing, you don't have to worry about any of that as long as you have it all. And if you have it all in one spot, you really simplified the process here. So yeah, it's December right now, and maybe this pertains to what you have going on your property right now. Maybe you have corn and beans, okay, but they're in separate areas. And then you got your greens and they're in separate areas. Kind of complicated things. So what I want you guys to do next spring, when you go out to plant your food plots, is I want you to go out there and plant beans, okay? Now let's say that you have a grain drill. Let's try and plant those beans in, depending on how your grain drill spaces them, 20, 24 inch, maybe 30 inch rows, so that there's enough room in between. Plant a Roundup Ready bean. Let's go in there and let's spray and treat those beans and even fence them off so that the deer cannot touch them all season, especially on a smaller plot. And then what we're going to do, fast forward 2-3 months, whenever we see that rainstorm in the forecast come July to early August, we're going to go in there, we're going to pick our favorite blend from Domain, something that's diverse most likely, and we're going to broadcast it right before a rainstorm up and down those 30-inch rows. So here's the quick tip for you guys. You need to maintain those beans. You need to be able to get to those beans and make sure there's not a bunch of weeds in them. So like I said, pick a Roundup Ready bean so that we can spray it with glyphosate. And then ultimately what we'll end up doing is going in before that rainstorm in late July, early August, and we're going to spread greens into those beans. Okay, another quick tip you need to remember is we need to up the seeding rate. Why do we need to up the seeding rate? Because we're not technically planting. We're not putting it in the ground. But thankfully these seeds and a lot of these blends are so small that it doesn't take much. Okay, a little bit of rain, seed soil contact, pushing them into the soil is enough to make them germinate. Are you going to get 100% germination? No. But that is why we're going to up the seeding rate a little bit and broadcast into those greens. So let's say that normally it calls for 4 pounds per acre. We're going to bump it up to 8 pounds per acre. Walk through the rows of those beans, up and down, up and down, up and down, and fill the void or fill the gap that we planted, that we created by planting those beans in 24 to 30 inch rows with greens. And now you talk about the most diverse food plot you could possibly have. We've heard the big names talk about it. Green, grain, green, grain. Which one do I hunt tonight? You don't have to worry about that if that's all in one given area. I don't care if it's a half acre. We can do it. We're going to have to maintain it. We're going to have to fence it. We're going to have to keep the deer off of it in the early season and through the summer. Or if it's a 5-10 acre food plot. This is a great idea no matter who you are. No matter how big your food plot is, all we have to do is just maintain it, pay attention to it, groom it so that it's there for the late season. And that right there is the single most important best food plot that you guys can hunt over and or plant late season.